On September 16, 2025, a peaceful afternoon in Wilson, North Carolina was shattered by an act of senseless violence. At the heart of this tragedy were 44-year-old Natasha Latrice Sutton and her beloved son, 21-year-old Avantae Pender, whose lives were brutally cut short inside their own home. Natasha was a dedicated mother, a sister, and a friend. She had always been known as a woman who loved her family fiercely and worked hard to provide for them. Avanti, her only son, was a young man full of dreams, standing at the threshold of adulthood. Together, they represented love, perseverance, and hope for a better future. But on that September day, their home, a place meant to be a safe haven, became the scene of unimaginable horror. Wilson, North Carolina is a small city of just under 50,000 residents. Known for its rich tobacco history and colorful whirligigs, it's the kind of place where neighbors know each other by name. But beneath the charm, Wilson carries a heavy burden: poverty and violence. Many families, like Natasha's, faced everyday struggles to make ends meet. Their house on Washington Street, though modest and in poor condition with boarded-up windows, was a home filled with laughter, love, and memories, until tragedy struck. The afternoon of September 16, 2025, Natasha and Avanti were at home with Natasha's sister, 37-year-old Tiffany Fogg, when a man came to their door. According to family members, the visit stemmed from a rent dispute. Natasha had fallen behind on payments for several months, a hardship many families in Wilson know all too well. The man began to argue with Natasha, demanding payment or immediate eviction. What should have been a civil matter spiraled out of control. As the argument escalated, he pulled out a gun. Within moments, the peaceful home was filled with terror and chaos. Natasha and Avanti were both shot in cold blood. Tiffany, desperately trying to intervene, was pistol-whipped and shot, left fighting for her life. By the time the gunfire ended, Natasha and Avanti lay lifeless. Tiffany was rushed to the hospital with severe injuries. The man fled, but not before deleting a recording he had made of the confrontation. Natasha Sutton was more than just a mother, she was the heart of her family. Her sister described her as a protector who always put her loved ones first. Even when life was difficult, Natasha tried to shield her family from the harshest realities of poverty and hardship. Avantae Pender, only 21, was a young man with his whole life ahead of him. Friends remember him as kind, ambitious, and deeply devoted to his mother. His dreams, like those of so many young people, were suddenly and violently stolen. Their deaths have left a void in their family and their community, a void that can never be filled. Neighbors on Washington Street described the sound of rapid gunfire, followed by screams. Many rushed outside, only to be met with the horrifying sight of paramedics and police flooding the area. It was devastating, when neighbors said through tears. Natasha was such a sweet soul. And Avanti, he was just a boy. I can't believe they're gone. The Wilson Police Department arrived quickly and began their investigation. Within hours, the suspect was identified and arrested. What shocked the community most was who the suspect was: a man known locally for his community work and anti-violence advocacy. He had founded a nonprofit organization dedicated to mentoring young people and discouraging gun violence, making the violent act all the more unthinkable. For Natasha and Avanti's family, the loss is indescribable. Shatera Barnes, a relative, spoke out in disbelief and pain. Even if Natasha owed money, that wasn't a reason to take her life. It doesn't matter if she was my family or not. It's wrong. But it hurts so much more knowing it was my family. Her words echoed the collective grief of a community struggling to comprehend how a mother and her son could be killed over something as simple as unpaid rent. The suspect was taken into custody and charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of attempted first-degree murder. Investigators also arrested his sister, Tiffany Monique Chestnut, accusing her of helping him by hiding parts of the gun used in the crime. She faces charges of acting as an accessory after the fact and tampering with evidence. He remains behind bars without bond as the legal process unfolds. For Natasha and Avante's family, the charges bring some relief, but no true closure. Nothing can bring back the mother and son they lost. The irony of the situation has not been lost on Wilson residents. The same man who once worked tirelessly to prevent gun violence is now accused of inflicting it. One parent whose children attended his program said, "It's just devastating. He was someone we trusted. He gave back so much to this community. And now, this. It's like we don't even know who he really was." For the young people he once mentored, the news has been especially difficult. Many are left questioning everything they were taught about trust, leadership, and nonviolence. As the community grapples with shock and grief, loved ones are focused on remembering Natasha and Avanti for who they were, not the violent way they were taken. Natasha's friends described her as someone who always found a way to smile, even in hard times. Avante's peers recall his ambition and his gentle spirit. Their lives mattered, their dreams mattered, and though their voices have been silenced, their memory lives on through those who loved them. Wilson, North Carolina is left with painful questions. How does a community heal when the very person tasked with protecting and uplifting it is accused of tearing it apart? How do families rebuild after such senseless loss? While the legal process will determine justice, Natasha and Avante's story serves as a heartbreaking reminder of the fragility of life and the urgent need to address violence and poverty at their roots. 2 lives were stolen on September 16, 2025, leaving behind a devastated family and a grieving community. As court proceedings continue, one thing remains clear: Natasha and Avanti deserved to live. Their story is not just about the tragedy of their deaths, but about the love they gave, the dreams they held, and the legacy they leave behind. May they both rest in peace, and may their loved ones find strength in the fight for justice.